Okay, welcome to Photoshop CS5 lesson chapter 1.3, which is the move and transform commands. So we're going to use this simple picture again with the leaf, and I'm just going to use the quick selection tool and make a selection of that leaf. Goes down so I can grab the stem as well. And it's not going to be perfect, but good enough. Now, in Photoshop, if I want to move, notice this. On my layers, and we haven't talked about layers yet, that's coming up in chapter 2. But in layers, right now I'm working on my background layer. It's going to act differently than if I made a duplicate copy. Plus, I think I'm going to need to unlock this. So I'm going to double click it and say okay, so it renames it to layer 0, and that way it's unlocked. Now I'm going to select my move tool, which is the top tool in your toolbox, and I'm going to move the pointer inside the selected border, and then I'm going to drag the selection to a new position. So click and drag, and when I do and I drop it, notice what happens. It's basically transparent here. Remember, I'm on layer 0. Now, I'm going to Control Z and undo that, and I am going to make a duplicate layer. I believe when you're on a duplicate layer, it does something different. So now I'm on layer 0 copy. I'm still on my move tool. And now I'm going to grab that same leaf inside the border, and I'm going to click, hold, and drag, and look what it does. Instead of taking away and making a transparent area here, it's going to just leave that leaf and copy it. So, because I'm on a copy layer. So if you want to get rid of it altogether, you're going to be on the basic layer, the original background. If you want to copy it, you can duplicate a layer and go that way, and that's your move tool. Now let's move to copying and pasting selections. You can use the move tool to copy selections as you drag them within or between images, or you can copy and move selections using the copy, merged, cut, and paste commands. Dragging with the move tool saves memory because you don't use the clipboard. Now, what I can do is I can actually drag this into another, like I can open up another image, and I'm going to see my computer has not been cooperating today, so I'm going to do it anyway, and hopefully it will work. I'm just going to grab this photo. Now, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to grab this same leaf, and I'm going to drag until I go to this other, and now this leaf becomes part of this photo. And that is just a simple way to use your move command. And notice, even though I did that, it left that copy there. Notice again, I'm still on layer 0 copy. When you paste a selection or a layer between images with different resolutions, the pasted data retains its pixel dimensions, and that can make the portion appear out of proportion to the new image. So in that case, you're going to use the image size command to make the source and destination images the same resolution before copying and pasting, or use a free transform command to resize the pasted content. And as you can see here, that leaf is out of proportion in this situation. It should be really much smaller, floating through the air, but we're going to leave that for another lesson. Now, what if I want to copy? Copy simply copies the selected area on the active layer. So if I go to edit, copy, it's copied what I've selected, and it's gonna put it elsewhere, because I can paste, edit, paste. Now if you look, it added a layer here, but it's a transparent layer because look, there's that leaf underneath. Now look, if I go back here, see, and this layer lets me see through because it's transparent. You can tell that by the gray and white checkers. But basically, copy and paste, it pasted it to another layer, created it all by itself, and that's how that works. Now, copy merged. It makes a merged copy of all the visible layers in the selected area. So if I go back and I go back to my bottom layer, now if I go to copy merged, edit, copy merged, it makes a merged copy of all the visible layers in the selected area. Well, in this case, what we've got is this one leaf is in the same place, and then that top layer has this leaf in it. So you can't really see that here, but that's what it would create that same a merged copy of all the visible layers in that selected area. It would just merge them all. We've done paste. Okay, paste in place. If the clipboard contains pixels copied from another Photoshop document, then paste in place, paste the selection into the same relative location in the target document as it occupied in the source. So, for instance, if I copy this right here, edit, copy, and notice I'm on the original layer, edit, copy, and then I go to this other photo and I say edit, well, paste special, paste in place, then notice it put it right here, which is about where it appears in my original document. Paste into or paste outside, it pastes a copied selection into or outside another selection in any image, and the source selection is pasted onto a new layer, and the destination selection border is converted into a layer mask. So, for instance, we're going to go here to this photo, and we're just going to make a selection really quickly. Guys, should have done an elliptical marquee tool, just been simple. Holding my Alt key. There we go. Good enough. Okay, now we're going to go back to our original, and we've got our selection. So we're going to say edit, copy, and then we're going to go to our new image where we have this selection, and we're going to say edit, paste special, paste into, so it goes inside that circle. Now notice it does not really fit, so I would have to do some resizing to make it fit, or make my selection area larger, whichever I wanted to do. Now, copying a selection, it's edit copy or edit copy merge. We've done that. Copying a selection while you're dragging. Okay, so I'm on my move tool. I'm going to select it and hold down control, or either hold down control or select the move tool. That does it. And then while I'm going to move, I'm going to hold down my Alt key, click, drag, and hold, and it moves that selection. It copies that selection while I'm dragging. So I now have selected this area, but it's the same shape here, and I could paste into another something, leaf, whatever, a different color. Probably be easier to do color range and change that, or something of that nature. But the point is that's how you move copy a selection while you're dragging it. Okay, what if I want to create multiple copies I'm going to Control Z. Alright, I've got my move tool selected. I'm on my layer 0. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select my move tool. I'm going to copy the selection, edit copy. I'm going to hold down Alt to copy and offset the duplicate by 1 pixel. I'm going to press an arrow key. Now look what it's doing. And I just kept pressing that arrow key and it kept moving that selection over. To copy the selection and offset the duplicate by 10, and I'm going to Control Z. Actually, I'm going to go to my history and back up. See where it says nudge? I'm going to go back there. And I'm going to hold my Alt key down again and just nudge it back, since my history is not sure. Okay, now I'm back where I started. I want to set offset by 10 pixels. I'm going to hold down Alt and Shift and press an arrow key. So Shift and Alt, arrow key, arrow key, arrow key, arrow key, arrow key. Now I've got multiple leaves there copied. Now, you can also copy and paste between applications using Photoshop. I'm not going to go into that, but you can copy into, say, Illustrator. Instead, we're going to move on to the Transform submenu commands. Now, I'm going to deselect that, and I'm going to go to my Quick Selection tool and just grab this other. So now I can go to Edit, Transform, and I can do any of these things: scale, rotate, skew, distort, perspective, warp, rotate 180, rotate 90 clockwise, counterclockwise, flip horizontal, or flip vertical. Well, I'm just going to flip vertical. That my selection is done. Those things can help you when you're trying to make different selections. So there are some things there to explore. I can also choose Select, Transform Selection, and it gives me the option. As you can see, I can do a number of things to fit an area. I can drag from within the selection to move it somewhere else completely, or I can go to one of my corners and get my little bendy two-way arrow. I can resize, and I can resize this way, and that scales the selection. And in addition to that, I can point outside the selection and drag to rotate. I can point outside the selection and drag until I get that bendy arrow, and I can rotate my selection. There we go. Now in this case it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to do that. I'm just showing you how this works. And again, we've gone over copy, merge, paste, paste into place, paste into or paste outside. We've done that. So that basically shows you all the different things you can do with some of your selections.